All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome back. We spent the last couple of days discussing paychecks and savings, insurance, building and maintaining your credit. And now I think we need to dive into how to protect your credit report that you work so hard to build, how to protect your bank account that you work so hard to like stash money into, and how to protect your personal information. So, does anyone know what it's called when someone takes your social security number, your name, your date of birth, and they go and apply for credit card at Ulta or at Best Buy? Do y'all know what that's called? Y'all might have to go off mute.
Uh, it's identity theft, right?
Yep. Identity theft is definitely that, which is a type of fraud. And the scary thing and sometimes the confusing thing about fraud is that there's so many different types of frauds, and there's so many different ways that you can become a victim of fraud. I want you guys to feel equipped to be able to identify the red flags of scams and frauds and to avoid being a victim of identity theft or fraud, or just know what to do if you happen to become a victim of identity theft or fraud. So, most of the time, many scammers will prey on our natural emotions to make their scam successful. Oftentimes, they will create a sense of urgency. It's like a once in a lifetime thing that you're missing out on, and you have to act now, or you'll miss out on this amazing thing. They'll sometimes promise that you can make quick money if you're in a very vulnerable position. They can impersonate an officer or a bank teller to try to get you to trust them or scare you into trusting them so you can share your personal information or your bank account information. Sometimes a scammer will send you a gift to make it easier for you to send something back or share information because you feel obligated or just to show appreciation for their gift. And other times they can use complex words. They may talk fast to confuse you into agreeing and going along with their scam. But at the end of the day, those behind the scams are looking to take something from you. They want to take your money. They want to take your personal information like your passwords, usernames, PIN numbers, etc. Have any of y'all ever like gotten on social media or Facebook? And I might be aging myself a little bit, but saw like your friends playing those like about me games and they'll name like their first car or a pet or something like that. Is that ringing a bell for anybody?
Yes. Tom was my
Yes.
first
Yep.
friend.
Yes. Those
My
are treasure troves for scammers. Sometimes those answers in these games can be the answers to the security questions that you set up to get access to your bank account or into your email account. So you want to be careful with that. Once they do have your information, they can steal your identity and they can file your taxes. They can take over your bank account, open up credit cards, apply for a bank loan, or sell your information on the dark web. Types of fraud, as I said earlier. And this is showing 2024 data because I guess they don't have the data for 2025 just yet. And in 2024, imposter scams was the most popular tactic used by scammers with almost 850,000 reports. This category also includes phishing scams. Do y'all know what phishing scams are, or do y'all want to take a guess at what that might be based on a name?
When you catch a trout, but you were expecting a salmon?
Of course,
Is
they
that
look alike. I think that's different.
enlighten me? I don't know what it is.
So, phishing is when you are impersonating someone to try to get personal information. And phishing can happen in so many different ways through text messages, through emails. Nine times out of 10, they will send you something. It will seem very, very urgent just to get you to click a button so they can have access to your device, get you to log into your bank, get you to put your credit card information on there. I've heard of some instances of phishing where a grandmother's grandchild will call from jail and they need money to get out of jail. And really, the scammer is just using the grandchild's voice just so they can trick the grandparent into sending thousands of dollars. So phishing is definitely on the rise and one of the most popular type of imposter scams. As I said earlier, once victims' info get collected in an imposter scam, the scammer can open up bank accounts and they have access to do a lot of harm to that victim. Number two in types of fraud is online shopping. If you're like me, you like to buy things from Instagram and TikTok and Facebook Marketplace. And sometimes the things that you get in the mail is absolutely not what you bought, or sometimes you don't get anything at all, but your money is gone. Fake business opportunities and jobs are starting to become a popular scam because usually you have to apply for this job and provide your personal information. So a lot of people are becoming victims that way. Investment scams, you got to think like Ponzi schemes. You're investing in something that's too good to be true. It's the best thing on the market right now, and they're really just taking your money and spending it on their lifestyle. Web services, that's another scam, and then the reports are pretty similar to investments. That's like when you start a subscription and you have a really hard time canceling the subscription or you have issues with the payment service. So there are several different types of scams. So now that you have learned about the different types of scam, you're probably wondering kind of the best ways to protect yourself. There's a really quick video. Let me make sure I bring it over here for y'all.
Practice your scam spotting skills. Get ready to take action with SCAMS. Surprise. Are you surprised by the message or that there's a problem? Control. Are you being rushed to make a quick decision or to move to a different online space? Access. Are you being pressured to share passwords or personal information? Money. Are you paying online for something you're not sure about, or in an unusual way, with gift cards, Bitcoin, or wire transfer? Spot a red flag? If so, stop communicating with the scammer and seek support. If you've already paid any money, contact your bank immediately. Reach out to your family or whānau for support and contact NetSafe for advice about next steps.
Okay, that was a super quick one. I'm going to try to get out of here before it plays another video like we did last time. Okay, it doesn't play anything else. Okay. All right, so now that you've learned some of the red flags to spot a scam, let's see if you can spot it in these emails. So at the beginning of the class, you should have picked up a couple of sheets or they were on your desk when you got there. And hopefully you've had some time to review them. But I'm hoping in reviewing them, you found some things that looked a little strange in the email. This is actually a scam that I actually got earlier this morning from Netflix. So I'm looking at it. I want you to think like, who is it from? What is it asking you to do? How does it make you feel? I'm wondering if anybody wants to share any thoughts they had on this.
Yeah, it sounds like overly apologetic. Uh, and it just sounds way too apologetic. Like they're trying to like sweet talk you into restarting your membership. They're like the word obviously. I hardly ever see any legitimate institutions, like no bank has ever. I've never talked to a professional saying the word like obviously this is what's going on, or using extremes like that. Um, to me, that's the biggest red flag I can see just from scanning the language.
Um, for me here also, it's like if they're charging a credit card, it says, unfortunately, we're unable to auto charge your membership Netflix as you have reached your monthly spending limit. Like that's just weird. What monthly spending limit? It's not like a prepaid, preloaded card. Also now this is not necessarily an indication, but I'm hoping that please God, we still know how to write. There are a lot of grammatical errors in this
Yeah.
posting.
100% agree. I have a couple of red flags here, and y'all spotted like all of them. The obviously is very casual, and I don't see many large corporations saying obviously anything in their emails, and Netflix is not capitalized in that second line. So yeah, there are a ton of red flags, but these are the things that they're hoping that you don't notice. My last red flag is anything that has a hyperlink or a button for me to click, that's always a red flag for me. I always have to scan it 1,000 times. So great job looking at that one. This is another one, another phishing email that I found in my email from a couple of hours ago. And I'm wondering what you all thought of this one as well. This one's a little trickier, in my opinion,
Really? You think?
a little bit.
Well, I mean, I just what first immediately stands out is the email address up there.
100% agree. Mm-hmm.
Like, what in the world is that? Right? The way the address is posted, I mean, it's just not written that whole thing up there is just not written correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree on that. Also, like just the layout of these look like it looks like a kid put it together in elementary
Yeah.
school. Like these like super like basic palette colors, the bright red in the middle and the faded blue. It's so poorly. No legitimate company with especially when they have like hundreds of billions or millions of dollars at their
Hmm.
disposal would send out anything like looking like a toddler put it together. On top of the address thing to that, that's a huge, huge red flag. It just looks like it's Morse code, but some weird thing.
I do agree. I think to the trained eye, this address stands out. It's such a blinding red flag. But I do wonder how many people would look at the address. They'll just see that red band in the middle. So it might be a little bit harder to spot. There's no grammatical area errors that I saw. Um, I don't know really what cloud storage is, but yeah, I'm glad you guys could see it. You guys would never get scammed. Never ever.
I've had to, we're not high schoolers,
Unfortunately,
right? We've had to
you
watch, God knows how many employee, phishing orientations and stuff about
A
this.
hundred percent
yeah,
agree.
My
you
husband
know,
also works in IT, so like,
Oh, you're a pro. You're
mhm.
yeah,
Daniel, were you
you
saying
got a
anything?
leg up there. You got to step up. No, I think well, th this is good, and I've had emails like this before, but
Mhm.
they're so tricky. Like I actually did get um embarrassingly, I'm going to admit that I did forfeit information because I got a
Oh,
phone call from somebody claiming they were Capital One and they actually had my account numbers and everything, and they sounded really good or really well spoken over the phone. Um, Unfortunately, I was naive enough to confirm certain numbers to them, and later finding out the actual institution, Capital One, sent me a bunch of correspondence about those attempts. The Then I did get hacked, so I had to like redo everything with my account with Capital One. Because when you go to press them, ask them what's your employee identification number, what is your investigation department, or that's when they start to get defensive. Because they called me again and I asked those questions, and that's when I'm like, oh, this for sure was a phishing thing. And unfortunately, I fell for it the first time.
never gotten a phone call like that. I had to replace my credit cards 3 times last year, and I could not figure out how my information kept getting compromised. And every time they were ordering Uber Eats, I swear it was the same person. It's like, how do they keep getting my information?
So
It's
It,
strange.
one of the things that they do for like the pump things is they have somebody go through and put the pump skimmer on, and then
Hmm,
an hour later or less they will come back and take them all off before they're recognized.
wow.
And that's how my credit card got compromised the last time, because I called I called them the next morning and I said, hey, the only place I've used my card is here. And,
Hmm.
you know, and they were like, oh, I went and checked the pumps, last night, but then she told me that that's what they've been learning, that
Wow, that's
they come put
probably
them
what happened
on
with
and then
me.
they take them off and they have an hour to get whoever's stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It,
I guess I'll have to start using gift
yeah,
cards.
their methods are like they're evolving with the technology. You'd be
Hmm.
shocked about how much of your most precious or most private information is easily accessible. I got McAfee, for like a service with them that is like I got the most premium one from them. They did a scan for me, and like a ton of different places had my information from data breaches.
Yep.
Even giant companies like what I think United Healthcare had a data breach and tons of information went out, health information too. So like these hackers or these people are professionals at this stuff. So whether you know it or not, I'm sure like a great amount of private information is already in the hands of tons of people, unfortunately. Just from surfing the web, cookies, things like that, they get so much information about you they can use to get more. It's quite
Scary.
intimidating. Yeah, it is.
That's kind of terrifying.
And
It-
I think
My presentation.
your teenagers are going to learn a lot from this just because they might not
Mm.
catch all the stuff.
Mhm.
Yes, and that's what I'm thinking is, hey, they may not think to look at the address at the top. They just see, hey, this service stores all your photos and your videos and your documents, and you're going to lose them. They're going to click that button. So I thought this would be a good one because sometimes these can look a bit legit. Okay,
Yeah.
so go ahead. Sorry.
No. I agree with that. Mm.
Okay. Okay, so this next example is a bit complex. It's a bit more layered. Let's pretend one day you're on social media and you get a text or some form of communication, and it's a direct message, and it's a company reaching out to you because they think you will be a great fit for their quality control job. There is no immediate red flags to you because pay is awesome for part-time. Well, who wouldn't want that pay for part-time? So you read through it and you decide, hey, I meet all of these qualifications. Of course, I'm interested in applying for this job. So the hiring manager will say, great, send us your social security number, your state issued ID, and your date of birth, and make sure you send it to this email, and we can get your background check done. Um, I'm sure you guys have already seen the red flags here. And one of the first red flags is the fact that they're asking you for your personal information and they want you to send it to their Gmail account. Those are gigantic red flags because most companies, if they're going to hire you, they will not ask you to send your personal information to a Gmail account or to a personal account. They will have you log onto a secure website to submit this type of documentation because they know how sensitive it is, or they will collect this kind of information on your first day of work, and HR will come and collect this information. But let's pretend you didn't notice these red flags and you go ahead and you send them your social security number and your date of birth, and they run your background check and they'll say, hey, your background check came back great. You've interviewed, you've passed the background check, and you have been hired. Usually, with these business opportunity scams, they will come back with an urgent issue. And it'll be something sort of like this saying, hey, we have an urgent issue. We need you to send us $1,400 so that you can receive your equipment, your monitors, your keyboards, your laptops, and then we will reimburse you and your first paycheck when you get paid, something like that. But you can only send it to us through gift cards, and make sure you take a picture of the back of it and send it to us, and we'll make sure you get reimbursed and get all of your monitors and your keyboards, all the things you'll need to do your job. If you send that to them, not only is your money gone, but your personal financial information is gone, and you've already shared your social security number and things like that. So I definitely strongly recommend that you guys don't share any information with anyone. If they're asking for you to pay using gift cards, that is a gigantic red flag, as shown in that video, and definitely stop communicating with them. So if you do want to protect yourself from identity theft, if you want to be preventative, you can always create or start a credit freeze on your credit report. Let's say you're a victim of a scam and you provided your social security number or any other kind of personal information, and you're concerned that a fraudulent account may open in your name or something could happen, you can place a freeze on your credit report. It's a really great preventative measure because it's free, it's at no cost, and it stays on your credit report until you decide that you want to move it. And what it'll essentially do is freeze your credit. No credit, no account will be able to be opened under your social security number, not even by you, while you have this freeze on your credit report. And all you have to do is contact all three of the bureaus and request a freeze, and it will stay on there until you are ready to remove it. Another great option, if you have ever been a victim of identity theft or you just want an extra layer of protection, you can also place a fraud alert on your credit report. So this is different from a freeze. It's not going to freeze your credit, but it does create a barrier of verification that has to happen before any new account can open up in your name. So if you're at Best Buy and you're applying for a credit card, the store associate will see, hey, she has a fraud alert on her credit report, and that associate will be instructed to call a number on the credit report and verify that it is you that's in the store that's opening up this account. And they cannot open up the account until they receive a password or that they receive the okay to open up the account. These fraud alerts are free and they usually last a year, but you can have an option to extend them. And once you have the fraud alert set for one credit card bureau, like if you set it for Experian, Experian will contact TransUnion and Equifax and get it set up with those two credit bureaus as well. I feel like while we're talking about protecting your information, we have to talk about how you protect yourself, especially for those of us who lose our wallets, our credit cards and debit cards. It happens. If you happen to lose your credit card or your debit card or you misplace it, you want to make sure you report it stolen or lost immediately. Definitely log on and review your transactions. Make sure there are no unauthorized charges. And while you're there, freeze your cards. You can freeze all of them if you want to. I really want to point out that debit cards and credit cards are different when it comes to fraudulent activity. With a credit card, there's any fraudulent activity with your credit card, if it's been lost, stolen, or compromised, usually the credit card company will just open up an investigation, and as long as everything checks out, they will reverse those charges on your card. With a debit card, unfortunately, if your card is stolen and you don't report it stolen within 2 days and there's fraudulent charges, I'm sorry, if you do report your card stolen within 2 days and there are fraudulent charges, you're responsible for about $40. It's not too bad. But if it's more than 2 days and there are fraudulent charges, you could be responsible for up to $500 depending on how many charges are on your account. And if it's anything after 60 days and there are charges, you could be responsible for all of the charges. So as soon as you realize that your credit card is stolen, definitely reach out, freeze your account, and call your bank. So quick recap. Remember, like the video said, if you're surprised they're trying to get control or access or money, definitely stop and seek support. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is a scam. Secure your accounts with strong passwords, keep them private, change them regularly. That's probably a hard part for all of us. Definitely review your accounts and make sure there's no fraudulent activity on it. And remember, a credit freeze is you freezing your credit, and a credit or a fraud alert is when they need that extra verification before credit is approved. And finally, just make sure you report your cards lost and stolen if anything ever happens to it. I think the last thing I want to add here, and it's not here, I just thought about this, always be willing to learn about the new types of fraud and scams that are happening. They are developing every day. And I think the best thing you can do is just stay informed and keep yourself protected that way. Thanks, everyone.
Yay.